Good morning, good afternoon, good evening from wherever you are in the world. Welcome to The Perspective once again to dive into different issues of politics and economics. And today I just want to focus on what has bedeviled this country so that now we form the basis of the next discussions going forward. And as all of you are aware, that Kenya suffers from poor governance issues, not in education, not in the security sector, not in agriculture. Every sector of this country, every economic sector is bedeviled by governance issues. And I believe that if as a country we can deal with the governance issues, then Kenya would be ready to take off to the next level. And now the question that we should be asking ourselves always is, should we allow our politics to dictate our economy, or should we allow our economy to dictate our politics? Because sincerely speaking, politics and economics are the two most factors that determine the welfare of any country. Remember that government is supposed to provide a welfare state, not a warfare state. That is the major role of any government, to provide a welfare state. Number one. And number two, it is to lead a country to prosperity. So any government that exists and that is proud of itself should only seek to lead its country to prosperity. And there's no question about that. So anybody seeking political power without thinking about taking their country to prosperity, they have no reason whatsoever to want to lead. But the bigger question is, what caliber and type of leaders should we have politically speaking? Because it is in parliament where decisions are made, where laws are made, where we are represented, where there is oversight, both in the National Assembly and in the Senate. That is where the policies come from. At least not all of them, but any other policy that is developed has to find a bearing to Parliament, either the Senate or the National Assembly. And therefore, the question we should be asking ourselves is really, what kind of people do we have? Or better still, what kind of leaders do we need to have in Parliament? Do we need a Parliament that is full of clones, or a Parliament that's full of people who have a true understanding of the plight of the people and their roles as legislators? Should we have a parliament that is an annex of the presidency or the executive? Because we can sit here and talk about the judiciary, but judiciary is the last option when the executive and the parliament has failed. Now we move to the judiciary. So before we have the judicature, we must ensure that our executive and parliament are well and running properly, without malice and without poignant intentions. So my issue is that we have to speak about the quality and the caliber of leaders we need to send to the Senate and the National Assembly so that this country can take off, economically speaking. Then should we allow our politicians to dictate the future of this country even when we know that that is not what they stand for? Do we have to have people who the only thing they think about is their stomachs? Is that really what we need? Kenyans, we must think and think outside the box, because there's no box. It's about us now. It's about our children tomorrow. is about our children's children's in the years to come. And therefore, we have to be very real and practical so that we save our country from unnecessary leadership, from accidental leadership, from a miscarriage of a government. And this can only happen through the ballot. And one thing that we must make very clear is that we have to learn to make the right choices, devoid of emotions, when we go to the ballot. Because it is true that every year, year in, year out, after elections, we start to complain. We complain. But when we go to the ballot, we forget that our problems know no tribe, our inefficiencies know no ethnic affiliation, our issues knows no political leader. They have no allegiance, but they are basically our problems as Kenyans. And therefore, then we must think on how can we be able to better our choices at the ballot, because that is where we have the power. The Constitution says that at the preamble of the Constitution, the power belongs to the people. From where I sit, the greatest power of the people does not lie on the streets. It does not lie in the courts. It does not lie in public barazas. But the greatest and the strongest and the highest power of the people lies at the ballot. If we exercise that power in a way that really we have leaders who make sense, leaders who understand their roles, leaders who are there to serve our interests as people, as Kenyans, overcoming our tribal, our ethnical, and our egocentric tendencies, then Kenya will be destined for greatness in all sectors of economy. So because I know that now everybody is crying, but we may not be crying because of anything other than our mistake at the ballot. We can cry all we want at this point in time, but very little, too late. It is at the ballot where we have to allow our voices be heard the most. We must do our due diligence. We must be up there unequivocally circumspicious and careful, so that we have leaders who are not pretentious to know our issues, but who truly share and bear the true hallmarks of leadership that this country needs. It is not in the best interest to have leaders who are very good in making speeches. It is not safe to have leaders who are very good in public speaking. It is not in our position to have leaders who seem just to speak to us in a nice way and bring us niceties. Because that is a recipe for bad governance. We need leaders who can listen. We need leaders who can board into our issues and deal with them. And they need to have a proven track record. Not just by mere talk, but by way of actions. Because that is the genius. That is the genius that will drive our country forward. So basically this channel will talk about now how to navigate through these issues of governance and leadership in our political spheres. Because the truth is, if we are able to sort out our political issues, if our political leaders align and they are truly for the best of this country, be sure that all other leaders who emanate from our political leaders will be there to serve the interests of the people, not the interests of the appointing authority or the interests of the powers that be, but the interests of our people. Thank you very much. Please go and subscribe to this channel so that you may be the first person to get a video when we upload them. I wish you the very best. May God bless you. Let us support each other. Bring on board your ideas. Let us hear from you. And I assure you that going forward, we are together and Kenya must change and change for the better. Thank you very much.